What's up, guys? How we doing? Welcome to All Day Every Day. This is a channel that I've created just to talk about, honestly, whatever the hell I want to talk about. So today I want to talk about a skate competition won by Lillian Gallagher. She won $5,000 and Taylor Silverman, a girl, got second place. So awesome, girl skateboarding, right? Not so fast. The problem is Lillian Gallagher was not born a female. Lillian Gallagher has transitioned into a female and is competing against natural female Taylor Silverman. Well, this gets kind of tricky, guys. Like transgender in sports, where do we draw the line? I think it's awesome that the skate community is open and accepting of transgender. I can't even imagine how hard it is to, like the suicide rate amongst transgenders is so high. Life as a transgender is not easy, and anywhere they can gain acceptance is awesome. The problem is when you come to sporting events, it gets tricky because the female body and the male body are so different. They're completely different. And just because you take hormone therapy to kind of suppress your testosterone, it doesn't undo years and years of being genetically male. It really doesn't. Whether you keep your private parts or not, it doesn't matter. That doesn't come into play when it comes to shoulder width, jawline, strength. There's a reason in sports that we create a difference between males and females in classification, because the two bodies are so completely different that it's not fair for a woman to have to compete against a man. Now, it gets really tricky, though, when you get into transgender, because like I said, it's got to be incredibly hard to be a transgender person. And while I'm accepting of their decisions, I don't fully understand their decisions, but I can only imagine wanting so badly to get out of your own skin that you're willing to get an operation and take hormones to switch. That's got to be a big burden, and I don't want to add to that. Like, I love that the skateboard community welcomes this, but I do have a problem with the fact that Taylor Silverman, who got second, and she kind of said it wasn't fair, and people came down on her. That's what I have a problem with. I have a problem with Red Bull letting Lillian Gallagher compete against true women. And now the reasons I just stated are just like, okay, so a lot of the rules when it comes to transgender in sport is you have to be on hormone therapy, like suppressants or whatever it is, for 12 months, and then you're allowed to compete as a woman, even though you were born a man. Well, that's still not fair. You've still got the bone density, the muscle. I mean, look at some of these transgender athletes. Their shoulders are broad, their muscles are bigger. They're not true women. And while I want to accept them in society, I don't think it's fair for them to compete on a level. How do we fix this? I don't know. It gets really tricky. I would say we have, when there's a sport that doesn't differentiate between men and women, have at it. Let them go wherever. But when a sport differentiates between men and women, if somebody was born a man and wants to compete with the women, I don't think it's fair. I don't think it'll ever be fair. I think you have to create a transgendered classification. So you have men, women, and trans. I don't see any other way to do that. Almost like an open class. And like I said, I'm not saying that to be a dick. I'm just saying that because I don't know where you classify it, and I don't know to what extent it changes the human body. As a male, if I take a whole bunch of steroids, that's cheating, right? If a female takes a whole bunch of steroids, that's cheating. But yet, a male who naturally had testosterone and goes back to being a woman, is that cheating? Is it cheating because I took steroids for 10 years and then stopped? It gets tricky. It's not black and white. Like, I don't understand. I don't even know where to go with it. I'm kind of lost on it, except for the fact that I guarantee It's a disadvantage for any naturally born female to have to compete with somebody who's born a male. And I'm just saying physically. I'm not saying how they feel, and I'm not trying to. The last thing I want to do is put down the trans community, because the trans community, they get crucified. They are, yeah, there's a lot of trans hate out there, and that's not what this video is. It's just about, it's the anti. So I kind of want to defend Taylor Silverman. Like, she got called, just because she didn't want to compete with someone who was born a man, she gets labeled a hater or, you know, a bigot or something like that. That's just not fair. This whole anti, like, you can't even question it. You can absolutely question it, and I say question it not with horrible intentions or not with bad intentions, but with science. And let's take a look at the competitive aspect. That's the whole reason that there's women's and men's classes, is because those two bodies are so different that it's not fair to compete together. So why then can you, it seems like, and I don't see, and I'm not saying anyone's doing this for a competitive advantage, but let's be honest. If these rules are pretty easy to circumvent, athletes and competitors will push the edge. We'll do damn near anything. And I mean anything. Like, I honestly believe if I go back to my college days, and if I did hormone therapy for 12 months, I think I could have played in the WNBA. I honestly think I could have played in the WNBA. And if you told me I didn't even have to get rid of my parts, I just had to take estrogen and this other stuff for a little while for 12 months, well, I'm not saying I'd do it, but I'm thinking about it. Like, that's something where you got to draw the line. Like, where do we decide what is what? I don't have the answers, but I just know we got to keep an eye on this, and we got to be open to discussion and not just shut down anyone and say, oh no, yes, it goes just like this. And if you question this transgender female, then I'm not questioning the transgender female living her life. She can live her life however she wants, and yeah, I'll call her she, no problem. I don't care. If that's what she wants to be identified as, then I'll identify her as that. What I'm talking about is the competitive advantage. That I have a problem with, competing with naturally born females. It's not fair, and I think that there's a place, and like I said, I love that skateboarding welcomes in the transgender community, and I think there's a place for them, and I think you should be able to compete with all the males. If you want to compete against the males as a transgender, go for it. If you want to compete against transgenders, that's fine. Just no competing against the women. So what do you guys think? Where do we draw the line? What do we do, and how do we fix this issue and make only positive? Like, I want to make it inclusive, because remember, when you put the comments in here, remember, these people who change their bodies, that are born in something else, I can't even imagine what that must feel like. That's got to be hard, and the suicide rate amongst them is so high. So, you know, tell me what you think. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts on it are, and if you had a transgendered child who decided to compete as a woman, would you say it's fair? And if you had a daughter who had to compete against that transgender person, what would you say? So try and look at it from both point of views, and let me know what you guys think. All right, guys. Remember, subscribe. This is my new channel, and I'm just talking about whatever the hell I want to talk about. So thanks, guys. Later.